Church of England is the established or state Church of England. It is divided into two provinces, Canterbury in the south of England and York in the north. The Church of England is the established church, meaning, among other things, the monarch is the supreme governor of the church. The church performs a number of official functions, and church and state are linked. The history of the English begins with their conversion to Christianity in the 7th century. Missionaries came from Rome, Iona, and Gaul, and by the end of the century, Christianity was firmly established in all of the English kingdoms. The study of grammar became a necessary basis for the study of Scripture to better understand the divine scriptures and the literature of the church. Some churches became famous as schools. By the 8th century, there were high standards of literacy, scholarship, and intellectual curiosity because of schools like the King's School in Canterbury, an abbey that was founded in 597. The study of grammar was necessary for the growth of Christianity in the authentic tradition preserved and authorized by the Catholic Church in Rome. Over the course of the next several hundred years, future kings fought for the right to rule England, and in doing so hoped to change the course of history through their chosen Christian religion. Churches were endowed with land with an expectation of returning favors when asked. Bishops took their place attending kings, and together with secular nobles advised in peace and war. Although Catholicism was the leading Christian religion, Protestant denomination was gaining strength. Protestants believed the Catholic Church stemmed from the original Christian Church but had become corrupt. The Catholic Church was headed by the Pope, whereas in the Protestant Church, the authority of the Pope was denied. In 1517, Martin Luther, a German professor of theology, began to publicly reject some of the teachings and practices of the Catholic Church and challenge papal authority. He published a list of questions and propositions for debate named the 95 Theses that was mass-produced and circulated throughout Europe. In response to Luther's list and in support of the Church of Rome, Henry VIII published Defense of the Seven Sacraments, a 30,000-word text that defended papal primacy and became a bestseller. To thank King Henry, the first English king to write and publish a book, the Pope named him Defender of the Faith. King Henry desperately needed a son to continue his line of succession, and his wife Catherine of Aragon had failed to produce an heir. King Henry asked the Pope for a divorce, but the Pope would not allow it. Unhappy with this response, King Henry took matters into his own hands and broke away from the Catholic Church, creating his own Church of England and naming himself the head. Separation of the Church of England from Rome brought England alongside the broad Reformation movement. Reformers in the Church of England alternated between sympathies for ancient Catholic tradition and more reformed principles, gradually developing a tradition considered a middle way between the Catholic and Protestant traditions. King Henry VIII instituted a number of statutes that dealt with the relationship between king and pope and the structure of the nascent Church of England. The statutes claimed England to be an empire that was governed by one supreme head and king, making the king the final legal authority in all such matter, and also established monarchs as the supreme head of the Church of England. King Henry appointed his friend Thomas Cranmer to serve as the Archbishop of Canterbury. One of his first tasks was to grant the king a divorce from his wife Catherine. Cranmer represented the king in court and pronounced the judgment that the marriage was against the law of God. Henry was now free to marry his second wife, Anne Boleyn. After Henry's death, Protestant reforms of the Church were introduced during the 6-year reign of Edward VI. In 1553, however, Edward's half-sister Mary, a Roman Catholic, succeeded to the throne and restored Roman Catholicism. When Elizabeth I became queen in 1558, the independent Church of England was re-established. In the 17th century, the Puritan movement aimed at reforming the Church of England and sought to purify the Church of remnants of the Roman Catholic popery that the Puritans claimed had been retained after the religious settlement was reached early in the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. The 18th century brought the evangelical movement, which promoted the Protestant customs of the Church. A series of revivals that swept through Britain had a permanent impact on Protestantism as adherents strove to renew individual piety and religious devotion. Since the 20th century, the Church of England has been actively promoting worldwide Christian unity. The Church seeks to recover the apostolic sense of the early Church for unity and diversity, and it confronts the frustrations, difficulties, and ironies of the modern pluralistic world. As part of the Anglican Communion, the Church of England is now a broad church, representing a wide spectrum of theological thought and practice. Some distinctively Anglican ideas can be identified in the Church of England. It is a way of Christian thinking that involves scripture, tradition, and reason, held together in creative tension. The Church follows an episcopal form of government. It's divided into 2 provinces. Provinces are separated into dioceses, which are headed by bishops and include parishes. The parish structure means that the Church is there for everyone. Everyone lives in a parish. This means it's an organization for everyone, not just believers. The monarch still retains the title Defender of the Faith and is still the supreme governor of the Church of England. He or she has to approve the appointment of archbishops, bishops, and deans, formally open new sessions of the General Synod, the Church's governing body, promise to maintain the Church in his or her coronation oath. Bishops and priests are responsible for performing state functions. The Church of England also has a lawmaking role in Britain. 26 bishops, including 2 archbishops, sit in the House of Lords and are known as the Lords Spiritual. They are thought to bring a religious ethos to the secular process of law. However, in an increasingly multicultural society, questions are being asked as to whether that role needs to be specifically filled by Church of England bishops. 21st century issues include the ordination of women, homosexuality, and same-sex marriages. The Church of England allows for the ordination of gay priests as long as they are celibate, and the House of Commons passed legislation in 2013 to legalize same-sex marriages but didn't allow the Church of England to perform them.